Hey everyone, this is Ryan again from Mazama Sporting Goods, and today we're bringing you another product feature. Today we are talking about the CZ Bren 2. Specifically, this is the Carbine in 5.56. Now, the CZ Bren 2 takes a lot of things that have been adopted from other firearms designs. So when you're looking at this, or as I talk about the features, if you think, hey, that sounds an awful lot like X, Y, or Z, that's probably not an accident. The Czechs have a long history of taking the best bits of a bunch of different firearms and combining them together to make one excellent firearm. They've been doing that throughout their history. They've been doing that with their service weapons, and this is no exception there. So there's a lot that at least I specifically like about these, and this has definitely been one of my favorite tests to do so far. So what is this thing in general? This is, again, in this version, the 16-inch 5.56 semi-automatic rifle. So this one uses standard STANAG magazines or AR-15 magazines. Here we just happen to have a Magpul P mag, but it'll work with any of your standard magazines. I've used Lancer mags and I've used some of the GI aluminum mags, all of which functioned just fine. Now this one, again, having the full-length barrel means we can include the traditional CZ Bren 2 stock. So this is a side folding stock. The stock does latch onto the shell deflector to keep it locked closed. However, I can just pull down and pull this thing back and it'll lock back into the open position. We do have an adjustable stock back here with various different positions for you to be able to find the one that you like. And one of the benefits about this is I can still fire this while folded. Not something most people tend to want to do, but an option you have nonetheless. Moving on to the opposite end here, we have the 5.56 muzzle brake that is typically included on these rifles. If you didn't want to run the muzzle brake or you wanted to run a silencer or other muzzle device, this is standard 1/2 x 28 threads, so you can get whatever muzzle device tickles your fancy that you enjoy for 5.56. I will say that this muzzle brake is extremely effective, as you'll see from the shooting footage with this. It is very, very smooth shooting, hardly any felt recoil, hardly any muzzle rise, and it makes it very easy to shoot quickly and accurately and transition from target to target. Moving back, we have an adjustable gas system. This is a short stroke gas piston rifle, so we have 3 positions: normal, adverse, and off. Off would render this into basically a manually operated rifle. However, I've heard stories of people who will take that off position and drill that for a suppressed setting, since there is not a suppressed setting out of the box. Now moving back from there, we have our M-LOK handguard. The handguard still leaves quite a bit of barrel exposed. However, there are companies that do aftermarket options as well. But again, a very lightweight, feature-rich handguard, allowing you to mount M-LOK accessories all the way around. You can see there's a Picatinny rail here where the previous owner had a vertical grip mounted. But you can add lights, lasers, whatever you want to this guy. Now, ordinarily, this would come with a set of iron sights from CZ. This one, again, this is a used one, I should say, came with the Midwest Industries iron sights. Also excellent iron sights, but we don't have the standard CZ ones here. The CZ ones from the factory are a little bit more HK style in their sight picture. Again, very good performing iron sights that tend to also have tritium in them or some sort of photoreactive paint, so you can also use them at night. Now, moving on to the receiver here, we've got a non-reciprocating charging handle. This is one of the big upgrades from the first edition of the Bren 805. So back on that older model, the charging handle would reciprocate. You could still move it from one side to the other, but that was one of the main complaints people had. Now I can obviously use this to manipulate the bolt, let this thing go back forward, and then when I fire, if I want to have my thumb behind it for whatever reason or anything like that, I'm not going to run into scar thumb. This thing will not reciprocate with the action of the bolt carrier group, which is, I think, a nice thing. Again, I can rotate it to the other side, so if I'm a lefty or just want to do AK style controls, I can bring it around to this other side and manipulate the bolt that way. Now, one of the other cool things that they added moving from the 805 to the Bren 2 is bolt controls, where I can actually drop the bolt or even lock open the bolt without having to change my grip. So inside the trigger guard, it'll be hard to see from here, so hopefully I'll be rolling in some pictures. I can manually lock the bolt open by pushing up inside the trigger guard and drop the bolt by pushing down inside the trigger guard. This is not the first firearm to do things like that. However, I think it is a nice addition so that any malfunction clearing or any manipulation of the rifle can take place without having to lose your fire control grip, as we like to do here in the West. Now, we do have an ambidextrous magazine release on both sides, so we can still function the entire firearm, whether we are right-handed or left-handed at all times, and that is definitely a nice thing. Now, moving to the pistol grip is not removable. However, you do have back straps that you can change out to better fit it to your hand. Personally, I didn't find the factory grip to be an issue. It was comfortable enough that I didn't even think about it. I didn't notice it during the course of shooting with it. And usually, if something just kind of disappears and you're not having to consciously be aware of it, that's usually a good thing. Now, the safety, since we're talking about the grip and everything, is also ambidextrous. It's also short throw out of the box, so this thing will only do a 45-degree throw, so you're not having to worry, if you have shorter thumbs like I do, about being able to reach down and put this thing back on safe. So again, easily manipulatable while still in your shoulder. Now, moving on to the trigger. The trigger was one of the best things about the original Bren 805, and the trigger in this is no exception to that as well. The trigger, while not quite as nice as, say, a Geisley trigger, which we carry at Mazama, this thing is still really nice for a service rifle. Approximately about, I would say, 4.5-ish pounds compared to your standard AR mil-spec trigger. That is not too shabby. Now, one thing I'm not going to dig too deep into this video, since there's plenty of other videos about this on the internet, is the field stripping. However, this thing is very easily maintainable, very easy to take apart. All your pins are captured, and everything can be done without any sort of tools, which is something I appreciate. So when we took out this rifle to do the testing after it came in used, quite a few of us were putting rounds through this thing, and it was definitely the fan favorite that day. Everyone who put rounds through it had nothing but good things to say about it, and I don't know, maybe I'm just in my honeymoon phase, but this is probably one of my favorite 5.56 rifles that I personally have ever shot, and I might be picking up one of these myself. We'll see how that goes. But if you are interested in checking out the CZ Bren 2s or anything else from the CZ lineup, being their handguns, shotguns, or bolt-action rifles, you definitely want to come down and check us out at Mazama Sporting Goods. We are a crown-level dealer here in Eugene, Oregon, and a fully licensed dealer. So no matter what your needs are, we should be able to help facilitate those here at Mazama. So if you are interested in finding out more or coming in to check it out, please take a look at our social media pages down in the description, or check out our website for more information.